It's garbage day. You might hear the garbage truck in the background. Garbage day is my favorite day. I don't know, something about it. I love watching the garbage truck take my garbage. The little things in life, right? All right. Does that work? Is that kind of weird? Oh my God. My name is Holland, and I'm here outside in the beautiful summertime to give you my second knitting podcast video. So if you're here now, thank you for showing up. If you saw my first one, that's really cool. Thanks for looking at it. I'm in a different location. Previously, I was upstairs in my craft room, and after watching the video, it's so beige, it's so blah. Like, I want to redo my craft room, but time, effort, and expense, right? And I don't have that right now, and it's summertime, so I might as well be outside enjoying the summertime. I'm seated on a very fun, I love it. It's a papasan, and it's held up by chains on my beautiful tree here. I've always wanted a swing in the backyard, and I'm an adult, so if I want to swing, I'm gonna have a swing. It's not a lot to want. It's nice out, the sun is shining, so we're gonna try to film out here today. I have one finished object to share with you guys, and I have 2 works in progress. I've got a lot more finished objects, but I'm trying to keep it small and bite-sized for now because I'm just starting off, you know? My first work in progress that I have going on is a pair of socks. They're sitting right here next to me. They're beautiful. They're wonderful. I want to say they're perfect. Of course they're perfect. It's handmade, right? I started these socks in December, and my plan was to get one of them completed before I came back from my Christmas trip. My partner and I went to Belgium for a couple days. It was very beautiful. It was a lot of fun. But my goal, since we were traveling from city to city and airport to airport, I wanted to have something to do. I was a little concerned because I heard in some countries you have to be very careful with your knitting needles. I heard especially if you're going to Germany. You can have your knitting needles in your checked luggage, but you cannot have knitting needles in your carry-on or else they would be confiscated. And I didn't want my good chiagoos to get confiscated. So I knitted the first one on these, I don't think it was these, but they might be on a placeholder for now. I don't know what they are. These were gifted to me from a friend who wanted to get into knitting, but she couldn't get into knitting. She had a bunch of circular needles that she gave me. They're a great gift. I love using these as stitch holders. So when I'm not actively working on something, I can just put them on hold. The one I was working on in Belgium was really heartbreaking because one of the little metal wires in this guy popped loose. Can you see that? Well, not on this one. I threw it away when I got home. But one of the metal wires had popped loose, so every time I'd slide my fabric down it, or every time my hand would graze it, I would get poked. Like, that doesn't feel good. The yarn that I used for these socks are called Knitted Wit, and they are sock weight. Knitted Wit is from the Craft Emporium, which is really cool. I got that at my local yarn shop, and I looked at their website today to get the information to tell you guys, and apparently it's closing, so that's a bummer. If you want this beautiful yarn or beautiful yarn like it, I guess they close in August, so give them your patronage. About the construction of these socks that I'm making, they are a toe-up construction, and I used an anatomical toe box for it. So I've got my one foot and I've got my other foot. You can see that they are different. That way you can never ever wear them on the other foot, which I'm very excited about my anatomical toe. It's a heel flap and gusset design with the reinforced heel with this stitching. I don't know what this stitching is called. Fisherman's knit, but I don't think it's fisherman's knit or fisherman's rib. It's like some sort of slip rib. But it's great. I love it. I decided to have this side curve a little bit. That way it's not just a straight blunt line. And then while I was shaping the heel or turning the heel, while I was turning the heel with German short rows, I just followed that up and around. I guess it's kind of hard to see because I haven't blocked it. It's hard to see things when they're not all spread out, right? There we go. We can see where the heel is turned there. We can see where the German short rows have taken place. And I tried really hard to continue the pattern through the short rows. The reinforced heel, it goes all the way up the back of the sock just to help prevent if you ever get like, you know, when you get rubbed raw from your shoes, hopefully to prevent that, and also hopefully to increase the lifespan of these socks. I've never worn hand knitted socks before, so I don't know what their lifespan is like. This one is on hold for now. I don't know, it's about that long. What I did was just weigh out the cake of yarn, or the skein of yarn. After I caked it, I weighed it into 2 equal cakes so I could have one sock and then the other sock. This one's not completed. I've got a little bit of yarn left on it, but when this one is the length of this one, I'm planning on putting them both on this needle, and I'm going to try knitting 2 at a time. Those are my heel flap and gusset socks that I started knitting in Belgium, and they are my work in progress, or a work in progress.
Oh my god, what happened? I'm in a big mess. I'm missing a garbage truck.
At least we won't be bothered by the noise of the garbage truck. I keep trying to flip my hair back and hitting this chain that's holding up my swing chair. Whatever. My second work in progress is a much longer work in progress. It's my Love's Cable Sweater. With my Love's Cable Sweater, I am using the yarn Encore Tweed from the Plymouth Yarn Company? Plymouth Yarn. Encore Tweed. And I think it's knitting up this really great tweed yarn. Oh my god, that looks way better on camera. Oh yeah, okay. I like that. With this Encore Tweed, you can see these little tweedy bits in there. I think they create a little bit of dimension. I think they create just a little bit of interest. I really enjoy them. I don't think the tweed overwhelms the cabling we have here. This cable pattern I found on Pinterest, and I tweaked it a little bit. I modified it a little bit. I was just looking at cable charts because, once again, I've never knit cable before. So I was just looking at some cable charts to get some ideas of what I want to do with the main focal point of this sweater. It also has these little cable twists in there. One thing that I really love about this sweater, number one, it just worked out, which is awesome. But you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cable twists going down, but this one splits away from its friends to join together again in the underarm. I think that's a really cool detail that I added in there. I know I said this in the first time I met you guys. I don't know how to read a pattern. I'm okay at figuring out a chart, but all of this is trial and error. Maybe one of these days I'll bring out my chart book to show you what my charts and my doodles look like. But as of right now, this is coming out of my brain, going on paper, getting knitted up. And You know how it is when you're like designing your own thing? I probably frogged it like 3 times. Like in total, I probably knit this sweater 3 times by now. But that's the fun of creating. The thing I'm working on with the sweater right now is the cowl neck. The cowl neck? I'm working on the cowl neck right now. I did finish the cowl neck before, but when my partner put it on to model for me, oh my god, it was so tight. It was all wrinkled. It made this all bunchy. It did not fit right. So I undid it. I redid it using, what size are these? These are Chiagu 6s. They are 4mm needles, and this is just a 1x1 rib. Nothing fancy, nothing special. I thought I would try double knitting it, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not ready for that kind of commitment yet. So I did not double knit. It is just a 1x1 rib. That's really fun. I brought the German short rows into the cowl neck of it. It starts from one shoulder to the other shoulder, and then you just kind of German short row your way until it's the length you want it to be. From there, I'm planning on just knitting it to go along this space here, and it'll be a pretty big collar, but that's fine. It's supposed to be for like winter time, and you're gonna fold it, right? I should mention too that this sweater is a saddle shoulder. I wanted to try a saddle shoulder sweater, so I did. I started with knitting the cables for the shoulders, knit the cable for this shoulder, and then I flipped around to the back where I connected the shoulders together. I did some more German short rows on the back panel. You can see how they have that angle to them. Those are just German short rows. But yeah, it came through really easy. There's some areas that I messed up, but who's ever gonna notice that? Like, who's ever looking hard enough to notice that I messed up? Except for like a person critiquing me. But I heard this really good advice once. They said, don't take criticism from somebody you wouldn't take advice from. Or is that backwards? I think that's something like that. So I'm feeling good. It's looking pretty. It's looking nice. The person I'm knitting this for, my partner, he's got a pretty long torso, so I've got quite a bit of ways to go before I can bind off the hem of it and then start working on the sleeves. The sleeves I'm super excited for. I might try knitting them again, and I don't want to say again. I might try knitting them 2 at a time. I tried knitting other sleeves 2 at a time. I didn't like it. The tension, I usually don't have a problem with laddering, but the tension was just a little rough on the fingies. But we will see. So that is my one work in progress. My goal for this work in progress is to be completed before the end of the year. I want my partner to be able to wear it, honestly, ideally by Christmas time. Wouldn't that be so cute, going to a little Christmas party with your green color Christmassy cable sweater? And then people can be like, oh, that's a neat sweater. And be like, thanks. It was made just for me. But yes, that's the goal for the sweater, is to get it done by Christmas. Typically, I'm a pretty slow knitter, and that's fine. You should always knit at your own pace. But yeah, that's my loves cable sweater with Encore Tweed by Plymouth Yarn. My one finished object I have for you today is my puff stitch sweater. This was featured last time as my work in progress, and last time I was saying that my goal was to be done with it in 2 months. Because once I was done with this was going to go on another sweater garment. I don't know what it's gonna be, but the needles were gonna be on my next project, right? I gave myself 2 months to finish it, and I finished it in 2 weeks. I was really surprised and pleased with how quickly this worked up. It was awesome. It was quick. It was flying off the needles. which, like I said, since I'm a slow knitter, I was super surprised. Let me try it on. Let me show you. There it is. It's finished. Okay, so maybe it's not finished. I need to be careful when I say finished object versus work in progress. I'm considering this a finished project. I do have some ends I need to weave in here and around the collar, but for the most part, it's a finished object. If I wanted to wear this out in public, I could just do that and nobody would know the wiser. But yes, this is my puff stitch sweater. It is also featuring saddle shoulders. These little saddle shoulders were knit with 7mm needles, US 7. I think they were 7mm. I don't know. I'll tell you later if I feature this again as another finished product. The body was knit with Chiagu size 10.5. I need to write down the millimeters. Like the US like standard is it's arbitrary. It's just made up numbers sprinkled in. If it's not made up numbers, please let me know because I don't want to be inaccurate or more inaccurate than I am. But the yarn I used for this one was Softy Chunky in the colors natural yellow and golden yellow, I believe. I did a simple puff stitch, which was a four stitch repeat and a 5-row repeat. So every 5 rows I'd drop them 4 and I'd knit it all up together until it stuck. It's got a very slight taper to the sleeves there where it tapers down to the cuff. With the cuff I decreased every 4 stitches, so it's not a fast decrease, but it's just enough to give it a little bit of a bag. I wouldn't call it a bubble. Is that what it's called? A bubble stitch? It might be a bubble stitch. Scratch whatever I said before. It's a bubble stitch. But it gives it a little bit of a taper. I followed the same taper for the body starting about here-ish. So it follows this, and every 4... No, it's not every 4 rows, is it? I don't know what I did, but there's some decreases in there to give it just enough taper that it's not a big box on me. With my body shape, I need my garments to not be boxy, or else they hit the widest part of my body and go straight down, and then I look like a potato. I don't want to look like that. But there is my, what did I just call it? Bubble stitch. My bubble stitch. My bubble switch finished object. But that's what I got going. This thing is hot. I need to take this off. Could you hear baby squirrel? I've got a little red squirrel in my yard and I call it baby squirrel. I must say, he's a cutie, little baby squirrel. He's so naughty. Oh my God, he's always tormenting all the other squirrels. The other thing I really love about my bubble stitch sweater are these just simple 1x1 ribbed cuffs, collar, and hem. I chose to make them mostly the natural color, mostly the white color on all of the aspects. I think it gives it just a little bit extra color blocking. It makes it look like it was intentional versus just using up what I had and playing yarn chicken. I did weigh how much yarn it took to knit 1 row of the bubble stitch, and then I just kind of divided and conquered from there to make sure that I had enough yarn to do the cuffs and the hem. One thing I really love about the cuffs and the hem is that if you look closely, one issue people tend to have with changing colors during 1x1 ribbing or any number of ribbing is that when you have the pearls, usually you can see a little area where it the color change happens. You can see a little dot, the main color, and then it goes back to the color you're intending it to be. The thing I love about this sweater is that it does not have that. It's straight color. You can't see where the color from before that you're working with next. I did that by when it was time for me to do a color change row, I would switch my yarns over, and then I would knit, just straight knit the row of the new color. The second row, I would go back to the 1x1 ribbing again. That gave me this beautiful color transition without the little dots of the extra color in between them. With the sweater, for the cuffs, the collar, and the hem, I used an Italian bind off. This is my favorite bind off. Oh my gosh, I love how it looks so continuous. It just follows the 1x1 rib pattern. It looks intentional, it looks finished. It's those little details for me. I try to use the Italian bind off on most of my items. If it doesn't need it, I'm not going to bother with it because it's just a bit time consuming. The first object I knitted and finished, baby squirrel is throwing pine cones. The first object I finished that had an Italian bind off was so sloppy. Oh my gosh, if you are learning how to do Italian bind off, give yourself grace, give yourself like time. You will get it. It will be tight. It will be, well, if you don't want it tight, it will be good. With anything in this world, it takes practice, it takes research, it takes time. That is my finished object for you guys. Thank you for watching me again. Thanks for hanging out with me for just a little bit. I am so excited to continue this video journey. I think if it wasn't for these knitting podcast updates, I don't think I would have gotten this done as fast because now I feel the pressure of the internet. Thank you for watching. I don't know how often I'm gonna try to update these videos. Probably not. I'm not gonna promise more than once a month, but I am going to aim for at least once a month. If we get some bonuses in there, awesome, great. But yeah, I wanna thank you for tuning in. I hope I see you guys again, and I'm looking forward to my next finished object. So thank you, bye. It's not gonna work.